Hey there, friends. Pastor Jason here. Glad you can join me for daily devotionals. We're concluding Deuteronomy today. Remember, this is Moses' swan song to the Israelite nation. He's given them the law, he's given them commandments and statutes. The Lord has stepped in, told Moses, hey, you're about to die on a mountain. He literally just told him it is now time to go up and see the land I'm about to give the Israelite nation, but you'll not cross. And Moses has just wrapped up some blessings and curses for the Israelite nation, depending upon whether or not they follow him. And the Lord was very clear that they're going to turn from worshiping God, turn to worshiping other gods. And here, Moses just sang a song that the Lord taught Moses and Joshua, and he taught that to the Israelite nation to help them remember the fear of God. And now Moses is going to speak his last blessing on the Israelite people. Here we go, chapter 33, verse 1. Now this is the blessing which Moses, the man of God, blessed the sons of Israel before his death. He said, the Lord came from Sinai and dawned from from Seir. He shone forth from Mount Paran, and he came from the midst of 10,000 holy ones. At his right hand was flashing lightning for them. Indeed, he loves his people. All your holy ones are in your hand, and they followed in your steps. Everyone receives of your words. Moses charged us with the law, a possession for the assembly of Jacob. And he was king in Jeshurun when the heads of the people were gathered, the tribes of Israel together. May Reuben live and not die, for his men nor his men be few. And this regarding Judah, he said, hear, O Lord, the voice of Judah, and bring him to his people. With his hands he contended for them, and may you be a help against his adversaries. Of Levi, he said, let your Thummim and your Urim belong to your godly man, whom you proved at Massah, with whom you contended at the waters of Meribah, who said of his father and his mother, I did not consider them. And he did not acknowledge his brothers, nor did he regard his own sons, for they observed your word and kept your covenant. They shall teach your ordinances to Jacob and your law to Israel. They shall put incense before you and whole burnt offerings on your altar. O Lord, bless his substance and accept the work of his hands. Shatter the loins of those who rise up against him and those who hate him, so they will not rise again. Of Benjamin, he said, may the beloved of the Lord dwell in security by him, who shields him all the day, and he dwells between his shoulders. Of Joseph, he said, blessed of the Lord be his land, with the choice things of heaven, with the dew from the deep lying beneath, with the choice yield of the sun, and with the choice produce of the months, and with the best things of the ancient mountains, and the choice things of the everlasting hills, and the choice things of the earth and its fullness, and the favor of him who dwelt in the bush. Let it come to the head of Joseph, and to the crown of the head of the one distinguished among his brothers, as the firstborn of his ox. Majesty is his, and his horns are the horns of the wild ox. With them he will push the peoples all at once to the ends of the earth. And those are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and those are the thousands of Manasseh. Of Zebulun, he said, rejoice, Zebulun, in your going forth, and Issachar in your tents. They will call peoples to the mountain. There they will offer righteous sacrifices, for they will draw out the abundance of the seas and the hidden treasures of the sand. Of Gad, he said, blessed is the one who enlarges Gad. He lies down as a lion and tears the arm, also the crown of the head. Then he provided the first part for himself, for there the ruler's portion was reserved, and he came with the leaders of the people. He executed the justice of the Lord and his ordinances with Israel. Of Dan, he said, Dan is a lion's whelp that leaps forth from Bashan. Of Naphtali, he said, O Naphtali, satisfied with favor and full of blessing of the Lord, take possession of the sea and the south. Of Asher, he said, More blessed than sons is Asher. May he be favored by his brothers. May he dip his foot in oil. Your locks will be iron and bronze, and according to your days, so will your leisurely walk be. There is none like the God of Jeshurun, who rides the heavens to your help, and through the skies in his majesty. The eternal God is a dwelling place, and underneath are the everlasting arms. And he drove out the enemy before you and said, destroy. So Israel dwells in security, the fountain of Jacob secluded in a land of grain and new wine. His heavens also drop down dew. Blessed are you, O Israel. Who is like you, a people saved by the Lord? Who is this shield of your help, the sword of your majesty? So your enemies will cringe before you, and you will tread upon their high places. Chapter 34. Now Moses went up to the plains of Moab, to Mount Nebo, to the top of Pisgah, which is opposite Jericho. And the Lord showed him all the land, Gilead as far as Dan, and all Naphtali and the land of the sea, and the Negev, and the plain in the valley of Jericho, the city of palm trees as far as Zor. Then the Lord said to him, this is the land which I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, I will give it to your descendants. I have let you see it with your eyes, but you shall not go over there. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord. And he buried him in the valley, in the land of Moab, opposite Beth Peor, but no man knows his burial place to this day. Although Moses was 120 years old when he died, his eye was not dim, nor his vigor abated. So the sons of Israel wept for Moses in the plains of Moab 30 days. Then the days of weeping and mourning for Moses came to an end. Now Joshua the son of Nun was filled with the spirit of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hands on him, and the sons of Israel listened to him and did as the Lord commanded Moses. Since that time no prophet has risen in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. For all the signs and wonders which the Lord sent to him to perform in the land of Egypt against Pharaoh, all his servants, and all his land, and for all the mighty power, and for all the great terror which Moses performed in the sight of all Israel. Thus concludes the reading of the Pentateuch. Now, the Pentateuch gets a fancy church word for the first 5 books of the Bible, right? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, all of which we're fairly certain were written by Moses, maybe except for this last chapter, who might have finished by Joshua, son of Nun. The Pentateuch is a great starting point for us to understand the importance of God's people, the importance of God's justice, his hate for sin, but his quick to blessing those who follow his commands and statutes. And as we are learning in Hebrews, maybe I'll see if I can't put a link in either here or maybe down below. If you read Hebrews, you'll learn that all of this is just foreshadowing the redemption that we have in Christ, the way his blood and sacrifice pays the way for us to be saved. I hope that Deuteronomy has been a blessing to you. How has the Lord spoke to you about this very early history of the Israelite nation? Is there something maybe you need to go back and read? We've been in the Pentateuch for a long time. I would hope and trust that you would be inspired to do a little more research, do a little bit of digging, or maybe even go through Hebrews for yourself. Get a better understanding for these heroes of the Old Testament. When we return, I think next week, instead of we're going to finish off the Psalms. We're like 12 Psalms away from finishing. So I think next week we'll just stick ourselves in the Psalms and be done with the Psalms as well. And then we'll be right back to doing the Old Testament in chronological order. With that, be blessed, be a blessing, and I'll see you next week. Have a great weekend.